Hey, it's me just grabbing a coffee. I just got back from a whirlwind errand. Give me 2 seconds. Janine, I see you. Thank you for glad to see you, Barbara.
Thanks for the input.
Every day is for everybody.
Good morning, Shelley.
My coffee mug tells you how read it fast.
Mine says Mama needs sleep, but she'll settle for coffee.
I have two of these. A friend of mine makes them. I used to take this to board meetings on a board I was sitting on. And people ask me where I got them from. So she got a few more orders.
Awesome.
Hello. Oh my God. We actually have more people than I was expecting. Yesterday was a big one. Janine, you weren't here. It was emotional. I usually start easy and I move into more emotional, but we started with honoring your expectations and emotional boundaries and looking back. And it was a bit much. So I'm putting up, you should have gotten by now in your email, the replay link. If you want to look at it, I've been putting together a summary so you don't have to watch the whole hour. Let's dive in really quick because we did this yesterday. Have you guys all met Janine? No, Shelly hasn't. Jen, you have. Barbara, were you here when Janine was part of us before? Okay. All right. So we got some familiar faces, which is good because this is a vulnerable space. I'm going to check if anybody else to make sure Sylvia shows up. Oh, cool. We got the same comments in the Zoom as yesterday, which is really cool. All right. MEPS really quick as I get myself settled and get Sylvia involved. Welcome to day 2. I am completely a mess. I was up until 10 o'clock last night, 10:30, trying to get things together because I've forgotten how long it takes to onboard people. One of them got bronchitis, so she had to drop off. She couldn't help me on the back end. And then Sylvia, she had problems technically. So I've been scrambling, put everything together. I've figured things out. My ducks are in a row. So I feel a heck of a lot better now mentally. Emotionally, I feel better because I managed to go out and spend time with my daughter, which I haven't had a chance to do yesterday or some of the day before over the weekend. Ran over to the bulk food store, got $32 worth of cookie decorating stuff. More decorating cookies in the afternoon with friends. A friend of mine died in June. Then with her 3 kids, which I'm very close with, I was keeping a connection with with her husband. And then right after Halloween, he passed away. So yeah, so these 3 kids are like orphans and they've been really close to me. And I've been trying so hard to get a hold of with the school. This happened during Children's Grief Awareness Month. So I'm like, listen, I just did this new series. You should have to have this. I'm updating my ebook. This has been crickets. Again, it's crazy, but I'm happy because the school council has put me on their list as the safe person that they can come to. So now I'm in touch with their aunt. And they're coming over. 2 of them are coming. Both Emma and her older sister, Maddie, are coming over this afternoon. This is cool because I've been trying to connect with Maddie too. Maddie is 12? Emma's 9 or 8 or 9. She has her 9 and a little brother, Ollie, in grade 1. I'm happy emotionally because I can keep going. And I've been supporting them through anticipatory grief and grief for months. And now, okay, let's keep going. So, cool. Anyway. So I'm going to just stop there because that was a lot. I am going to do it backwards this time because first Shelly always right for these things. Jen, Janine, if you feel up to it, Shelly and Barbara, if you're here, please, if you have a chance, just do a little quick summary. How it was yesterday, how you feel about yesterday, actually, and then how you are in this moment.
Did you say me first? Okay. Mentally, I'm feeling pretty good. I've been productive this morning, so it feels good. Yesterday was pretty exhausting. Jumped off of this, ran to therapy, and drove the kids around from noon till 6 p.m. An hour and a half of that, I was just sitting outside Bella's nail appointment with poor little Jaden, who I would have gladly taken to the park if she had said, it's going to be an hour instead of 20 minutes isn't enough time to go anywhere and come back. So anyway, frustrations with lack of communications, which I thought we had resolved the last time. And I said, next time when I say how much longer, ask the nail tech. If she's telling the next appointment to come at 4, then I know I won't see you before. Frustrations. Dropped her at her sleepover, got Max to his friends, got Max home. The living room is a disaster because I took the rest of the boxes out. Mentally, I'm all over the place, but feeling better. Emotionally, frustrated with Mom. Physically, I'm feeling good, rested, caffeinated. And socially, I'm suggesting to friends that we maybe go to trivia tonight, so we'll see. Yesterday wasn't that heavy for me. I don't really know why. I was feeling good about it. It was nice to meet new people and hear their thoughts and processes. Looking forward to the rest of the week.
I'm glad you felt it wasn't that heavy. I might have been just me. When new people come in, I'm very empathetic. So I was trying to read the room. It puts me off, but also because I was a bit of a mess. Very attention. Every emotion is allowed here because this is what this is for. Janine, thank you for showing up. I know it's been a vulnerable time for you. Feel free to share as little or as much as you want.
Thank you. Nice to meet everyone I haven't met before. Mentally, I feel like I'm on a carousel, very disoriented, lost my job, healing from cancer. Second, Christmas was the roughest, but I'm going back to school, so I started that. So it's great to have something to anchor, but I'm mentally I'm oscillating between where am I going to live? How am I going to survive? What am I going to do for work? I'm trying to online date. It's just all these apps for jobs, spouses, partners, homes. Emotionally, it's getting better. The holidays were tough. Just a lot of lying in bed. It's my ex-boyfriend's and his daughter's birthday today, so that's triggering. I have this grief of relationship loss on top of grief from spouse loss. Physically, I fell yesterday changing bunk bed sheets. Do you find that when you get hurt alone, it's really scary because you're like, "Frick, I can't afford this right now." Spiritually, I'm just trying to be in touch with spirit, journaling, meditating, just trying to push through.
That's why I'm really glad you're here because everything has happened all at once. One bad thing happens and it kaleidoscopes on top of each other. It's almost like the world's like, oh, you want this? Yeah, no. And it's because you everything all at once. You have a lot going on and you're a lot of juggling. And you're at this point, though, I think, where you're finally, because of everything, you're like, okay, I know where I want to be. I'm self-aware enough to know what I don't want. Now I got to just stay in the emotions and feel it and let it come. Don't push right now. You don't have to figure everything out. We got you. Thank you again for coming because this is, I know, vulnerable, but we're here 100%. Every single emotion is allowed here, okay? I love you. Barbara, introduce yourself, and then Sylvia, explain how you're here.
Yesterday was triggering for me. This week between Christmas and New Year's is the worst because my kids are 16 and 18 in their own rooms and don't talk to me. I was feeling lonely. I'm not sure what I was coming into.
Yeah, that totally makes sense. It was a lot. I'm glad you showed up today. I hate this week. I've never, ever this week. I feel like it's even more anticipatory than Christmas. Shelley, did I overlook you? I think I did. Were you next?
I was supposed to be next.
Sorry, Sylvia, you'll go after Shelley. Sorry.
Yeah, I just finished eating my breakfast and it's 11:48 here. So that tells you my day has started because basically I rolled out of bed, threw some clothes on and turned my computer on. Mentally, I don't know where I am. Emotionally, I'm numb. And that's the safest place to be. Physically, everything hurts and I should see the chiropractor, but I don't have wheels, so I rely on others. It's too much effort to book that right now and figure that out. I got to pack my suitcase because I have to leave for Winnipeg on Thursday after we do this. Nothing. I think it's just I'm in this anticipatory zone because the anniversary of Sean's death is coming up in less than a month. This is the dark zone. There's one of my friends I met at Camp Wood. I had sent him a message to check in and see how he was doing. I'm in the gauntlet right now. We'll see if I make it through the other side. Yeah, right now it doesn't feel very hopeful, which sucks because I'm gone back to before I started any healing from trauma. It feels like I reverted back to being 18 years old. I had done so much work, so much healing. I was almost thriving, and now here's a shit sandwich, take another bite. And don't choke on it because that's what your husband died from. It sucks, and it sucks that that's the honesty of it. Like, it just exhausting trying to put a mask on and make things look like you're doing okay. And yesterday after the meeting, I ended up going to my mom's house because my mom called because she needed help with her truck. I checked things out. It was okay. Then my sister, who's older than I am, wanted me to check out the wheels from her suitcase and see what she should order to fix it. And I'm like, "Do you have another suitcase?" After struggling with trying to figure it out for half an hour. And she did that she wasn't using. So we just switched the wheel so she can take that suitcase back to Africa. And the one that's staying at mom's is the carry on so it can have the small thing. And then I was trying to fix my mom's internet on one computer and ended up just moving her printer to the other room. And I was like, "What would you do if I just ran away and never came back?" And she's going, "Then I guess I'd have to call someone and pay someone." And it's just, yeah, I'm still here just doing everything. And even though my sister is older than I am and should be able to figure some of that stuff out herself, I felt like I had to figure it out for her. So, yeah, it's just what it is. It sucks. Hence the cup today to feel better. Not really working, but honesty sucks too.
You're
Much
authentic.
easier to hide.
You are authentic. You're being aware of it. Self-awareness is a huge part of it. You're saying that you feel that all that trauma you've been dealing with and all the lessons you've been learning. I think to yes, you've come back because we do these big things, especially when you like with that trauma iceberg, right? And then all of a sudden you realize everything else underneath. It feels like you're there. Your headspace now is a much different headspace than it was when you were 18. That make any sense? Do you feel like you're in the 18 or you feel like you're seeing yourself as the 18? Do you find there's a distance there or are you actually in it?
It's interesting because I got thinking about this last night when I showered. I don't have the control and the ability to stop myself from doing dumb things now that I did when I was 18 because the fear of what would happen helped do that. I was thinking back to a conversation with my friend who wanted to go to the bar. If I go to the bar with you, I will go home with the first guy who propositions me and sleep with him, and I won't care. That's what dating this year has felt like. Every guy I've met in person, I've slept with without knowing them that long. It sounds terrible, but it's just, yeah, last night when it hit me, I'm glad I had the control I did in university. Otherwise, I would have been in a dangerous situation. Now I can isolate myself, not communicate with those guys, tell them to go away. And if they don't, then there's other options. But it's, yeah, it's, hate it. But like I said yesterday too, it's just to even think about getting better. I don't know what that looks like, and that's terrifying because it feels like I have less control than at least this I understand, which really sucks.
I think there's two different aspects, which I think they are on. We are absolutely going to have to deal with that in the new year. I want to see if we can continue with the holiday thing. There are two things that came up. Secondary trauma, which we've talked about. We should do a session on that in the future. And I want to do a session about not specifically dating, because there's something I did before called being your own second chapter, which I highly agree with. But more than that, we need to talk about sexuality and how it's changed since we became widows. In some cases, we pick up old bad habits ingrained because of previous trauma and how we're aware of it. So those two things I definitely want to talk about: trauma, secondary trauma, and how sexuality changes for us in the new year. I'm not ignoring you. I hear you 100%.
I feel like I'm hogging lots of time, so I'll shut up now.
Let me share every talk. Gotcha.
It's not like I'm taking offense or anything like that.
Okay.
I just want to make sure I'm giving space.
Going forward, before I introduce Sylvia, I see Emily's come into the room. Emily, feel free to stay. Oh, good. I'm glad you came, Emily. Emily's probably going to stay off camera. She's just here. Second day in the row. Thank you. If we go any further, I do want to remind you that at any point you need to ground yourself. If you need to get coffee, hot water, cold water, wrap a blanket around you. If you're smiling, enjoying yourself, don't feel bad. This is a safe space. Do what you have to do. Jane, you okay? Sylvia, let's talk about you really quick, and then we'll dive into what we're talking about. Yay, family.
Hi. Sorry. My name is Sylvia. I'm here to support Sarah.
Thank you. Sylvia has been wonderful. She's very much affected by trauma as well, about grief. And she is probably I've been looking for an assistant for over 2 years, and I love her. So she's safe. Everybody's met her. She's going to be taking care of the comments and helping me with everything else. All right, let's dive in. I do want to make this more of if we can, I don't want it to be as much of a big it was yesterday, which is why I wanted to do this as opposed to anything else. Because I figured out how the topics are going for the next week, how they're balanced that way to try to make sure that I am balancing against the survey that you guys gave me and being respectful of what you said you want from them. So today we are going to be talking about navigating family dynamics during the holidays. And honestly, this applies not just for the holidays itself. It is almost everything we're talking about now is exaggerated because of the holidays and the enormity of what all of that means for different people. But this also does bring in how your family dynamics change because of their death and how it continues into the next year. So I'm hoping this is a pinpoint for that. There is 3 different things we want to talk about. So today's session, where I'm breaking into 3 different modules, more like talking points. I don't want to really talk too much. The 3 of them is your extended family, which includes your in-laws, how that's changed. That's the very obvious one. The second one is close family, and this could be your parents, your siblings, your aunts, your uncles, whoever you consider close. We're doing just family right now. And internal family, how the dynamics have changed between you and your kids. As we go through, I'm going to talk a little bit about how I've seen over the years of what the common denominators are. And then as per usual, I'm going to throw out some talking points. Talk if you want, explain your own situation. Don't feel you have to be doom and gloom. If you have a ridiculous story to tell, please do that as well. Talking about extended families. In-laws, or as Sarah, one of our other members here, has called them for herself, is the outlaws, which is interesting. Without your spouse as the linchpin, relationships with in-laws can shift dramatic. If your connection to them was close before, they still might want to maintain these traditions. And then regardless, even if not so, it depends on how obviously things are different. But if they're close with you, if they've close with your kids, because now they're the linchpin, traditions like this can be reinvented or have changes to them subtly that are different than when they were involved. Because, for instance, one of the things that has happened, I've talked to somebody in our group how the husband was the one who arranged family get-togethers, and now she's the one to do that. And it's a small thing, but it's huge. Which brings up to the idea was that the death of your spouse, it reveals that your connection with your in-laws can be stronger than with your own parents, or it's completely demolished. It can go in each way. These realizations can be both surprising and grounding as the way as well as everything else. Because once you figure out where that is, then you can figure, okay, where do I sit with this? However, it's also possible that without your spouse's presence, the relationship can feel strained or distant. This can make you feel unsupported or even abandoned, particularly during a time of year like now where connection right now feels like it should be so important because you need to hang on to something. On the other hand, if the relationship was already complicated, the holidays can amplify those tensions. Might have different expectations about how you should spend the holidays, or offer well-meaning but misplaced advice on how to parent your children. It's important to notice or realize and to remember that these shifts, they're not about you, but about how everybody's adjusting to the absence of your spouse. They are grieving their son or daughter. They are going through their own situation. And I can't speak to that because I have not lost any of my own children, knock on wood. but it's different. How they grieve should not dictate how you are dealing with the absence of your spouse and the absence of the father of your kids, which means boundaries are critical. They allow you to protect your energy and focus on what's best for you and your children. For example, if you set clear expectations about how you spent the holidays, how that changed over the years, how that you're seeing from yesterday, we talked about your emotional capacity and how what you could take from this year, how you can change it for next year or even any other gatherings. Communicating your limits respectfully but firmly, it can help reduce these misunderstandings. And of course, this means that you have to be able to sit with that, to know what you're communicating with. And that can take some time as well. Again, this is not a one-time fix, but an awareness of how it's complicated. So the questions I have, I want you to think about. You don't have to talk about any if you don't want to. Have your relationships with your in-laws changed since your spouse's passing? What boundaries, if any, did you set for the holidays? How did you handle situations where their expectations conflict with your emotional capacity? Shelley, you're saying it's a 3-point sermon preaching to the choir. Or can you elaborate a bit more?
When you were talking about it wasn't 3 modules, it was 3 talking points. It's a 3-point sermon. You're preaching to the choir because we know and understand it, but yeah, that's what it is.
I love it.
My attempt at humor today.
It's awesome. I love it. Emily's saying my relationship stayed the same. They help with childcare. Oh, that's fantastic. I love that because that can be a strain. So the fact that you've kept the same relationship and they are involved in your life and your children's life, that's amazing. Hats off. That's good. Thank you. Mine stayed the same because my mother-in-law died 2 years before. Like now I'm like, oh yeah, the in-laws don't really have, actually, except for the fact that now we haven't talked to Mike's side of the family since a funeral a year ago and they haven't reached out. So we don't really have a relationship. It's done.
I wish it were that simple. It sometimes is for me because Sean really didn't have, the relationship he had with his family was that his mom had a private number, so he knew not to answer the phone if a private number called, because part of the reason why we were living way out here in the middle of nowhere where my family was is because he avoided his family. Since the memorial service, I have not heard from my mother-in-law. She has not called, sent a birthday card, which I've never sent me birthday cards before. She has not sent me a Hanukkah or a Christmas card. My sister-in-law I talked to last at Sean's grandma's funeral. That was a year, less a day after his. They both ended up dying in January and then had the memorial services in June. And so they had occasionally been asking Danica, because I told Danica, here's what the relationship your dad had with his family. You're 18 now. It's up to you how you want to establish that relationship or keep that relationship. And I will support whatever you decide. And she really doesn't see them much. And that was a decision. So I just hear about it when they're harassing her because she doesn't really like to go because they've made some not so good choices. There was a reason why Sean chose not to stay with them and communicate with them and whatever. It's interesting. They seem to have forgotten I exist. Last time Danica talked to them, they asked about my sister in Africa, not me. So in some ways it hurts my feelings, but for the most part, it's a blessing that I don't have to hear from them. And Danica is getting to the point where she would like to cut them off too, because it's not a safe or healthy relationship. I'm with Sarah. They're the outlaws. Or I'm the outlaw to them.
Barbara.
With my husband, his parents got divorced a while ago. So it's really his father that calls us at inopportune times. And it's one of those things that, sorry, I don't know why the dogs are going off. Yes, I know. So I usually only deal with like a Thanksgiving and Christmas. So it's one of those days where it's a stressful time just to begin with because it's always like the same question and they focus on the same thing. I'm also without a job. I had interviews while he was here as he focuses on the towns I wasn't talking about yet, but I feel like I'm able to deal with them one thing here.
Thank you. I really love your honesty. That's amazing. Janine, I just want to recognize that what you say here, which is that your in-laws live 5 minutes away. I'm a teacher, so sometimes I have to work related to events. That's awesome. That is really cool that you're able to like let go and let just, especially like in unforeseen moments, or like you can go here, take the kids, which is fantastic. Janine, I'm going to read what you said and respond or add more. Janine says, my immediate in-laws are more distance, but some of his extended family is getting closer. A few of his aunts and cousins are really great. My mother-in-law excommunicated us after my daughter was born. That's complicated. My father-in-law has advanced Parkinson's and can't really talk. His stepmother had us over for Christmas, and I anticipate we'll see his family once a year at Christmas. My family has been more distant. I was doing most of the hosting, and my husband was the social glue. My mother did invite us over this week, but I can't go because of our work schedule. So 2 things here, the in-laws, and then there's the family, and how we talked before, how that kind of it can change because did you want to go into that more?
Yeah, I think that's a huge part of the grief is I essentially lost both like 2 families through it because he was the one kind of holding it together and probably with wasted effort. Like really, he was the one kind of pulling and like we were looking after my grandma that kept my family together. He was the communication point for my mom and so without him, everything dissipated. It's a huge loss. I would host and do things, but socially, he kept both families together. They needed to unravel, right? Because it was strained. But it's the freedom too, but it's huge loss. We're just going to be alone at the holidays. So what do we do now? Where do we go if we don't have that anchor of family? It's been really strained with my mom. My dad doesn't really talk to us, but it's liberating, right? I don't have these pressures anymore. The physical, financial pressure of pretending to create this holiday magic for people that shouldn't be in my life or not healthy relationships. My kids don't want to have relationships with my family either. So I can't force it and let it go. It's nice that a few of his mother's family have stepped forwards and become closer with one of his cousins and one of his aunts since he passed. It feels like I can choose who my family is now. If you enrich my life and it's mutually beneficial, then we're family. But if it's strained and difficult, I don't have to pretend anymore.
That's a very interesting concept, a perspective change where it's you were here, but the husband was the glue and he wants to keep us together. But now that he's not here, it's changing to the perspective to go, wait, I don't have to do this anymore. I don't want to do this anymore. I don't have to be the glue. You're not giving yourself that responsibility. You're not trying to force something. You're just like, no, this wasn't working and it's not going to work for me now. And the fact that you're, again, being so self-aware to go, no, these are my boundaries. My boundaries are, we're going to figure this out on our own and you don't have to be a part of it. And that could change, but it's already established. You're making your own path. So I do want to acknowledge, yes, that is incredibly lonely because now I wouldn't say a ground up per se, because you have a much better idea of who you want to be. You're reaching out and making things, but it's changed. And it does feel like that support is gone. And how do you start from there? Jen, sorry, Sylvia, is there anybody else in the comments I missed?
I didn't put any comments because it's been about 3 years since I've seen anyone from Mark's family. His niece moved up here less than 2 miles away, and we saw her the day she moved up here and haven't seen her since. She doesn't even respond to me or the kids with the texts. And I don't know that Mark was necessarily the glue. I think he was the fuel to the fire. He pissed off his siblings well, so they don't want to deal with me because of how they felt about him. I think they feel guilty, and don't want to deal with it. It's sad because my kids could use those memories of their dad, but they don't respond. His brother Paul was the one who always called for birthdays and always called for holidays, and he just doesn't do it anymore. He married into a big family, and they're all taking care of his in-laws who needed 24-hour care and didn't have outside help. So the 6 siblings and spouses would do all of that. And I didn't even hear from my stepson. Of course, I'm the adult, should probably reach out. Now it feels embarrassing because it's too many days after Christmas to say Merry Christmas. Maybe I'll put it on my radar for New Year's. It's really sad the kids don't have that bond with the family, but it wouldn't have been strong even if Mark was here. It would have been a 4 times a year, 15-minute speakerphone call. So I've gotten used to it just being us. My family's really small. If I were back on the East Coast, I'd see my cousins, but that always felt forced too. We were forced in a room together and we all loved each other, but we didn't have anything in common. It wasn't bad, but it wasn't great. At this point, if I'm in a room like that, I feel lonely. Whereas before I felt bored. I'm happy being chill at home. I'm the only one who drives. I'm the only one who does anything. I'm just like, we can chill. We don't have to go anywhere. But I am sad for the kids, but they're trying to fill their lives with chosen families and friends. But it gets easier the longer it's been.
It's fine. It gets easier, but it's different, right? It becomes easier because you're figuring out where you are now in this life, which is completely different than it was before. You're figuring out your path. I don't know where to step. I don't know what's going on. I have never been widowed before. Sorry, that was a bit much, but I'm passionate about this. We talked about this before, but I do want to touch on it, which is the close family, because the outlaws, in-laws is the automatic assumption that those are the most complicated relationships you're going to have because, duh, you got to know them because of your husband. And it sounds here that everybody is very clear about how they are relating with their kids, which is fantastic because that's complicated in itself and could be a whole entire different talking session. But for the close family, I find people disappear after the funeral or they change. This affects the close family as well. Your parents or siblings or whoever's your close family have this idea in their head. They have expectations that you can step up and we do the same things as before for holiday gatherings, whether hosting or carrying on family traditions. Or one of the examples I gave before in our earlier group session was asking you to bring the turkey because you always did, completely overlooking the fact that it was your husband who got it. They don't know what you're going through. They can't, even though you want them to be there for you. It's easy for them to overlook what you're carrying because they have no idea. They don't understand the weight of being both a grieving spouse and a solo parent. Grief and everything affects everything. And you can't be that same person that you were before. You cannot take the same weight that you could when there were 2 of you doing it. And because they don't actually offer you support, because they can't see it, it can feel like a betrayal. Before you had your husband, if you had a good relationship with your siblings or with your parents, you wanted almost feel like, well, okay, can you support me now? Can you be that, at least a little bit of an anchor? Because you've been there before. Be here for me when my husband can't. It's frustrating because you want them to see you, but they can't. This could mean simmering resentment because you always relied on them. It could feel like, why can't you understand me? If there's already resentment complications, can make it even more. How can I deal with this? You don't have the backup of your spouse to see your point of view or be the person who's supporting you. This kind of tension can build up. If it's complicated, holidays can feel more like an obligation than a time for joy and connection. This goes back to communication about what you need without guilt. How to tell them, listen, I'm struggling. For my case, again, I have younger kids. For me, it was when I went to a Christmas dinner, I was the only person playing with my kids because nobody else, which means I missed talking to other people. I missed being part of the celebrations because I didn't have someone who understood that my kids were there because they were the only kids. I still had to take care of them. There was resentment. But then even when I was with them, because there was seen to be such a difference between how we understood each other, I felt so isolated and alone, even when I was supposed to feel connected and hold my family, because that's what Christmas is supposed to be. So that's my thing. Now, obviously, it's changed over the years. We got along well this year, which was surprising. My mom was sick again, the second Christmas in a row. She couldn't make it. I was worried because my relationship with my middle sister is quite strained. Both sisters and I and their prospective others got together for my Miriam, who's my closest sister, it's three of us. We got together and I'm like, fuck it. I'm just going to enjoy myself. I'm going to talk to Emily and say hi, happy birthday, give her happy birthday, whatever, Merry Christmas, whatever, give her a hug. She wants to talk to me, that's fine. She doesn't, whatever. That's on her. I am not going to be responsible for her feelings. She can do her. I'm going to talk to my middle sister, or the youngest sister. I'm going to talk to other people. I don't care anymore. And you know what else I did? I wore my wedding ring for the first time in years because I don't want to be the only person without a spouse. And you know what? I got to talk with us more often. And that, for me, was a really big step, too. Because this is my boundaries. This is who I am now. I'm done pretending. So think about it. Well, the questions were, maybe you've already expressed this during this season. What has been the hardest part about navigating your expectations with your close family? Have you found ways to communicate with them that it's safe and you feel that you can, if you're not even heard, that at least you feel better about expressing them? Have they been? Have they actually have they listened to you? Have you found ways to communicate? And then how do you balance your expectations with what you want them to do with your own emotional limits and your kids' needs?
I don't have close family because my mom has dementia. She's in a memory care unit. I visited her, gave her presents, and she forgot how to open presents, so I helped her unwrap them. But that was usually my go-to when I would have to talk to someone or what have you. That also helped with the loneliness. That and my father's nephews. Like I tried to call them and it was, we're just going to stay home and eat quiet. Don't I overknow, but nothing. So it was one of those. Okay, I had to get your point. But what do you do when close family it isn't available? That's my
Sorry, Barbara, could you say the question one last time because you were cutting out?
what do you do when you don't have close family? I guess you come up with friends, but what if you don't have friends because your husband was your best friend? I'm lonely.
Kind of why we're here, right?
Yeah.
We're all in the same.
I'm really thankful. I have my mother. My father passed away the year after I had lost that side of the family as well. I had a very strong family when we used to all get together. We used to go my mom's side of the family stayed Christmas Eve at my mom's and Christmas with my dad, and then my dad's family the next day. All of a sudden went to nothing. I'm feeling that too, especially as my mother's getting older and my grandparents have passed away. It's changing. Jen, your mother's going through her own aging process. I think a few people here can actually speak to that.
It's really hard raising a toddler who's 80 years old who doesn't want to listen to you because they think they are their own boss. Just this morning, she called me, asked me if I would call customer service on this thing that she bought. And I'm like, Mom, every time you buy anything through clickbait, it's impossible to do anything about it. She goes, we can't find the order. I have the order number key. I'm like, we've been through this. Maybe once. I'm like, at least 4 times, but I'm done. And now I need a new credit card because you used my credit card. How do I tell you this? She goes, remind me on December 30th, I was upset about this. We were upset about this in November. It's hard because she used to be someone I could confide in and be a sounding board for of emotional things. And if Mark were here, he'd be picking up the slack with the kids so I could do stuff with my mom. If she wanted to go to lunch, take 20 minutes to finish her wine. Max wanted me to do something and I needed to get Bella there. It's just me. It's hard. Yeah. So when it's just me cooking for Thanksgiving or Christmas, it's fine because it's just me. When I think about all those side dishes, usually it's 20 families getting together and 20 people are bringing something. And that's why you have 20 different plates. When it's one person, 4 is enough.
And that goes into we're just so used to doing the same thing and pushing through on our own. We'll just keep going this way then. We're not going to ask for help. It still hurts because you want that support. Jane, you said that too in the past. We were responsible for creating the holidays for both our families. We did it all. We hosted, we cooked, we gave gifts, we created a happy holiday environment. And now it's not the same. How are we supposed to have a happy holiday environment right now? Really? Where are you going to cut it up from? Which is why the next part was really resonating with me, which is no one is stepping up on my side of the family to create a tradition. That was big because you probably won't see your family anymore. You don't have the capacity to host them. And you can't really communicate because they don't listen to support. They're used to what we used to be. It's an impasse of understanding your side. The fact they're not stepping up I would be so frustrated and resentful for that.
Yeah. It's like being discarded, not of value anymore. You don't give, aren't not useful anymore. So we don't need you. It's a shitty feeling. If I don't do it, no one's going to. And my needs probably never did matter. The harsh reality was I was creating these holidays at my own financial, energetic, emotional, physical expense. I always felt depleted. Now I see why. There's no reciprocal nature to these relationships. They weren't real. If I wasn't giving 110%, it didn't exist. Now that I've removed all effort, they've collapsed. It makes me realize it wasn't real to begin with. And it was surface level. It's good riddance, right? It's sad, but it is what it is.
Explains why you're feeling depleted now, because you're realizing that you've been giving and giving and giving. And you're already depleted. Now you're realizing this and you're cutting that off, which means hopefully you can start building from there, even though it feels like you're at the bottom of the pit. And it does feel like that, right? Sometimes it feels like you're in this pit trying to claw your way out without light and you slip back in. But totally valid. You have every reason to feel the way you did. And I'm sorry they treated you like crap. This all happened because it meant a lot to you. I'm sure your husband appreciated that.
I was doing it for him to give the illusion we had these wonderful, happy families. But I think you remove one person, if it all collapses, it wasn't really healthy and it wasn't real. It was propped up by too much of our effort. But it's a relief, honestly. I remembered right before he passed saying, I don't think I can do this anymore. It was so depleting and one-sided. And I don't have to do it anymore. But now what? I got to figure out what to do and some new traditions with the kids and friends. I think that's the way to go.
I have to do everything just me and the kids. And I get their input. What was the thing you liked best about this and that? And then that's what we keep doing. And I get their input of what it is, what makes Thanksgiving to you, what makes Christmas to you. And we make sure we incorporate that in our day. And then the rest of it is okay to just be chill and hang out and watch Stranger Things or whatever. I hesitate to say any of our past stuff was fake and it didn't mean anything. Maybe his family doesn't say anything to us because of their guilt or they miss him too much and it's easier to pretend he's off doing his own thing. Whereas if they see us, then the reality that he's not here is really real to them. I don't think they're not contacting me because they hate me. I think it just makes his death more real. So if it's just, oh, I just haven't heard from him, it's easier for them. All of our past efforts weren't for nothing. They were just for then and not now. So I don't have to carry this heavy weight and feel bad about them not reaching out. It's their loss. Yes, it's our loss too, but they don't get to see my wonderful kids. They're really great kids. And their aunt and uncle don't get to know them because they don't reach out, and that's their loss.
I guess for me, I've been navigating this since my dad got sick with cancer in 2016 because he passed away in 2017. He had told my sister to go back to her work in Africa before he died. She wasn't home for the funeral, and I've been looking after stuff ever since, navigating all of this. Losing my dad in some ways was the precursor or anticipatory practice of losing Sean. And in some ways, losing my dad is harder because I was so close to him and all of that. It's hard to navigate. I don't miss trying to navigate with Sean's family. And in fact, it's a relief that they just pretend I don't exist anymore. My family, the dynamics changed after my dad died. My brother took over the farm and I was responsible for helping mama with everything else. My sister picks up the slack when she comes back. We didn't change any of the traditions after my dad died. We just moved them. And Sean and I weren't really doing Christmas anyway because we were exploring a full Bible and looking at biblical feasts and different things like that. So it was a whole different thing. So for a while, we weren't really doing Christmas. We would show up for Christmas Eve at my mom's house. We would show up if we got invited to wherever Christmas dinner was. And my mom was, if my cousin didn't host it, my mom still does it now. If I want turkey and stuffing, I just buy one of those turkey rolls with the stuffing inside and we have it that way. And that's good enough for us. One of the things I did, Sarah, I was so impressed that you could put your wedding ring back on because I still haven't even been able to look at it. It's sitting in my fire safe. I can't even take the box out. But what I did do, I'd created a family ring. So there's Sean's birthstone at the top, Danica's there and mine there. And then I put the dates on it that Sean and I met when we started dating, when we got married. Inside, it's engraved with his birthday and the day he passed away. And then the other thing I made was a single ring for myself that I wear on my right hand. That's his birthstone. When I'm out in public, I'm wearing these versus my wedding ring. I did that for myself because the way he died is too traumatizing. I've been making my own traditions, trying to create stuff meaningful to me. And I guess in some ways, I've been fortunate when I listen to everybody else's story because my mom lost my dad. That'll be 9 years this July, 8.5 years. She was much more understanding and a good support when he passed away. So it was a mutual thing where I would do stuff for her, but she was supporting me because she knew what it was like to lose a spouse. One of my aunts, also, they're older, my dad's sisters, she's in her 80s now, but I was always close to them. She had lost her spouse. I had people that understood. The bigger part for me was the people not understanding how traumatizing and how broken losing him the way that I did was. And so thankfully, because my doctor was just the one saying I couldn't go back to work, if anybody questioned that, I could just say, my doctor won't sign off on me going back to work. I can't go back to work. And I know just with the way I function, I can't do it. But I think people have come to accept that. It's easier to set itself that boundary by saying, I'm listening to the medical professionals. They will tell me when I'm ready. It was easier to set those limits, but it's other things like yesterday when my mom and sister needed my help and I just wanted to lay on the couch. I'd already done what I could do. Like you guys who were here yesterday, I still, an hour after I got off from getting the call, I'm arranging with my daughter to take her vehicle because I didn't have a vehicle and going to help my mom and sister because they will never call my brother. My uncle, my mom's youngest brother, who often helps us visiting his in-laws from South Africa. So he's not around, so I'm in. And then I have to set up boundaries and barriers and use any last ounce of energy I have left to perform for them. I've been doing that since 2017. I have less energy now.
Life of grief taking up most of the space in the bucket, you only have so much energy left. And if you keep going and going, pretending you can do as much as you could, forgetting that the bucket is like already half full, you're like, why can't I do this? I want to go back to the boundaries thing because that was, again, something completely different thing altogether, but it's something we all struggle with, which is where are those boundaries? Where are my boundaries? And the point they're saying there, versus sometimes they're self-imposed, sometimes they're from outside sources, sometimes you got to figure out where that lines, but it is like testing them out as you go along. And I wanted to bring it up because it goes into the next thing. Sylvia, you mentioned the family ring. That is gorgeous. I really love that. Which actually, again, put very beautifully into the next part. If I can find my notes. They're supposed to be here at 2, but I'm waiting for them. Sorry, they're coming soon. Internal family. How do you deal with this? At home,
Just you and your kids and whoever's part of the family for the holiday, the weight of the holidays. That's you. You're not just the primary caretaker, right? You're managing everything, traditions, reimagining traditions, logistics, the emotional labor, and the pressure to create this magical, beautiful holiday for your kids. And if your spouse brought the holiday spirit, you might feel unsure how to fill that role. Or if you work together as a team, what am I going to do on my own? Or maybe he was the Grinch and you had to do things around him. It's all complicated, right? All of a sudden it's on you. And how do you manage this? So practical tasks like shopping for gifts in secret, decorating the house, or putting up the tree can become overwhelming. Who holds the tree steady while you string the lights? We tried this with my son 2 years ago. I was going to kill him. He was going to kill me because I was expecting him to do the same thing his father did. And he knew what the hell he was doing. And we've gotten better, right? But who's going to help you manage the chaos of the holiday shopping? And it's just you taking care of the kids and you got work and you have other opportunities. Are you going to find time to do all this? Where are you going to hide them? Who's going to do this? These are likely tasks that you shared with somebody, with your spouse, and now they're all yours. Besides the logistics, there's the emotional challenge of being both parents at once. There is also a huge feeling of an empty space where they're supposed to be. It changes the energy in the room entirely. There's this weight of trying to make your kid happy, even when you're sad. It's tough. But it's the light in your children's eyes that keeps you in the moment. You get joy from them, and their role becomes the Christmas spirit. And this also can spread over not just for little kids, but also for bigger kids. As Jen said yesterday, you like your kids are still expecting. They love having the magic of waking up and or whatever, having lots of presents. And then they're gone. It's just there's certain traditions that you can see the light in your kids' eyes. You're like, this is why it's important. This is why it's here. And it could change, right? How they respond to Christmas as well. We've changed this year. This is the first time that we've done this where I've done the shopping. Tristan wrapped his sister's gifts and his sister wrapped his gifts. And that was really cool because it's the first time we've done it as a family. And they're older now and obviously like they're 9 and 14 now. And they could have not done this when they were younger. But it makes it our tradition now. And it's changed and it can continue changing as it goes forward. So your questions, and again, we might have already talked about this in little bits and pieces, but if we're just going to focus on this right now, let me find my chat again. Oh, wait, hang on. I had to change this up. Where's my chat? What holiday tasks have been hardest for you to manage solo this year? For your immediate family, like for you and your kids specifically? How did you approach balancing traditions and creating new ones with your kids? What strategies helped you navigate being both parents during the holidays? We touched on everything.
If I say anything, I'll be repeating myself. For the next year when Bella can officially drive and do everything herself. This be.
Let's switch this around just a little bit then. So instead of saying what's the hardest, this year, we are all figuring things out and we're reimagining traditions and it changes every year, no matter where you are in your grief. Looking at your kids and seeing how things have changed. If you're going to look through your kids, what is something that your kids did this year that surprised you or that helped and made you see Christmas in a different way? Again, from my point of view, it was like seeing like kids actually wanting to participate and help each other because they wanted to get the other person happy. That was cool. That was really happy for me, seeing that changed. Is there anything about that your kids just surprised you this year?
We went to the night and Bella was giddy. She was so giddy to be there. It was really fun to see her, and it's something she really enjoyed sharing with me. So that was really cool.
That's awesome.
Danica is an adult. Nice that she was able to be home, not freak out, more or less relax. She's been emptying the dishwasher, cooking for herself if she's hungry. It's been nice that I don't have the energy to do stuff, that she has the ability and has taken the initiative to do it herself. Like yesterday, she made macaroni, beans, tomato sauce, and cheese for lunch. It's a weird combination. She's like her dad in some of the things that she likes to eat and whatever. But she had tapped me on the shoulder before she left the room or sent me a message and said if I needed lunch, she had made enough. She was almost disappointed I didn't eat it, but all I wanted was toast. Like just that in itself and being thoughtful. And I think that's more of my bigger concern now. She's an adult, worrying about me, thinking she has to look after me and to be able to care for me if I'm not able to care for myself. And I'm like, I'm only 52. I don't think I'm going to be that decrepit soon. I look at my mom being 75, my grandma being 100 and still being alive. I still have that anticipation of being here for a while, but trying to manage that part of it where it's like, you don't have to live your life anticipating that you have to look after me. So that even being able to have those conversations and that kind of, but it was nice it being calm and not her freaking out and needing to run back to her apartment.
You create a safe space. That's amazing. Oh, you're supporting each other. There's an insight there, which I'm going to dive into later. The fact you're saying she feels she has to support and take care of you. I hear it a lot for kids too, growing up, knowing their mom is taking care of everything because their dad died. And then when they get older, they're like, shit. Oh my God, what has she been doing this whole time? The reality, they've lost a parent. They're like, I don't want to lose you. I want to make sure you're okay because I need you around. My son's actually going through this right now with his grandma because she's getting older and he knows that she's going to die soon. And he does not want to have that happen. So he wants to take care of her as much as possible. So there's that clinging on to because they know. Double-edged sword or coin, whatever. But overall, though, I'm just really glad that she's still there and you're there and that she's not freaking out. No, you're not. Like, I love this. Good match. Janine, I'm going to read out what you said again, if that's okay. Oh, wait, it's back here. Sorry. Decorating, shopping, and cooking and cleaning all alone has been hard. Oh my God, the cleaning. Holy shit. I hate the fact that our kids are home right now. They're not doing anything. I keep cleaning the house like 3 times a day. I'm done. It's exhausting. But you're proud you're able to do it all alone. That's a lot. It's hard. You have to keep doing it every time. If you can go, I did the dishes, even though they're still there. You did them. I involved the kids a lot this year. I only did the things important to them. I involved them in meal planning and gift shopping. It was a relief to have help from them and to know I was overspending and overgiving and depleting myself. Have we talked about that before? You overcompensate for what they've lost because maybe if I give them 2 more presents, that'll bring the fact that their dad didn't die into their picture. And like he messaged Janine yesterday, I was saying I was freaking out because I was like counting the gifts, how many they had the same amount of value. But I love the fact that they got them involved, the meal planning, the gift shopping, the fact that they're keeping an eye on you. You're the sounding board, listening to their needs and wants. I was probably overspending and depleting myself. My son said, stop buying me so many presents. I don't need them. They each wanted one gift, a simple meal of pierogies for Xmas dinner and cabbage rolls for Xmas Day.
I did believe once.
My daughter decorated the tree. Jen, that's like your daughter. She took over the freaking decorations this year. I focus on self-care, resting, and giving myself permission to relax and feel sad. I let me feel the hard feelings.
Yeah, you just have to go through it. You have to process them. It's supposed to be sad. Trying to deny it doesn't help you process the loss. Hopefully it gets better. But I'm proud I got through it. Yeah. And it's over.
You're going to keep going. I would say it's over because you can't fix it, but you're proving to yourself that you are doing it, even when everything seems collapsing, which is amazing. Make sure Emily's still here. She's talking to her. She's taking care of her daughter, which is awesome. I love this. And your space. This is our job. Just be here. I was doing a lot of thinking about how I was going to organize what our events are. But I'm pretty sure I did this correctly. We talked about this yesterday, emotional, honoring, expectations. Today we did family dynamics, which is a little bit later because this is how we change. This is good. I like this. This is going forward. Now, tomorrow, New Year's is weird for us. How do we have priorities or resolutions when we're just trying to focus on right now? How we figure out new life goals when everything we had was depleted? Where do I start again? What if I don't even know what my goals are or hope? Or I don't even know what hope is anymore? But What you were saying, Janine, leads directly into what I want to do tomorrow. It's important because it's the new year and the energy's there. We already feel it coming up, and I want to get the elephant out of the room, which is how you can carry both grief and joy into the new year. As widows, we cannot just say, I passed the year milestone, I'm fine. It changes and grows. Jared, Janine, is definitely how we live, holding both grief and sorrow and now every other emotion all at the same time. It's balancing one foot in the past and one in the present. Every year, when we put that line in the sand of this is yet another year, stake in the ground, it is different for us because we are looking at what we had and what we've done, as well as how we go into the next year. Having that space now is important. Don't push too much. Don't look back. Don't try to go back there. Don't push too hard in the future. How do I manage this to hold both and know that's okay into the new year? And if you look at that's a lot more profound than saying, I'm going to stop smoking or go to the gym twice a year. This is something we live with all the time, which is different than New Year's resolutions. Most people make a New Year's resolution and stop a month later. Living with that grief and joy into the next year is not just a 1 month thing. It's a way, how are we going to do this again? It's changed this year. It's different goals. It is, I want to make sure that it is balanced, both the grief and the joy. So it's going to be both. A bit more, I want to try as much as possible. And then if you're up for it, I will also have a worksheet that you can have on your own time about how to figure out goals if you don't know where to start. It's very basic, but it gives you an idea of where to go next. Anyway, before we shut off, because I love, this is not 2 hours, but they were definitely not the hour. I tried to get them on. I love talking to you guys. And I love the fact that I want to make sure everybody's saying what they had to say. Same as yesterday. I want to go around the room again. How are you feeling right now? What is something you've taken from this? Not just for next Christmas, but for every other kind of tradition or big milestone or whatever in the new year. I'm going to tell you how you learn. I'm going to push the fact that I can really encourage my kids to help even more. Oh yeah, and I'm going to keep wearing this for a while. I like this. This is taking a couple years to actually do, and it's broken, but I think I'm going to see how long I can hang on to this for until it feels not right or until it does. I'm testing the waters. All right, I'm going to go around. Shelly, Jen, you know what? I'm going to ask you because you're part of this. Or no, you don't have to. If you want, I'm going to invite you. Janine, because you're on screen. And if anybody else is in the chat, we have Emily. If you want to say something, feel free.
I'm feeling better than when the call started, but I don't know if that's because I'm feeling or if I've just built up my barriers again so I can continue to function. If that's what I need to do, I guess that's what I need to do. I think I will keep trucking on the path. It's different navigating it with an adult and letting her have the autonomy to decide when she wants to come home and what she wants to do and support her and let her know I have enough supports that I don't need her to start planning my retirement into a personal care home.
Well, I like that I'm not alone with the lack of family support from in-laws. It's okay to not be okay and that they're not part of our lives anymore. But today made me realize I do want to reach out to them and say hi. We're still around and we did think of you. Just keep getting the kids involved, doing what we can and putting the sadness at bay as best we can, embracing it when we need to.
I'm going to hold you to that thing about reaching out to your in-laws because this is something you brought up before.
And they didn't do it.
I know. Sylvia, you're more than welcome to say anything if you want to do it all. Okay. And you same for you, Janine. Don't have to share if you don't want to, because I know this has been vulnerable for you.
I have a lot of joy for the future. I'm super excited. Next year, I'm going to move, get a new job, start master's program, and maybe meet a new person. So it's nothing but potential and possibility. And that's super exciting. I don't want to rush anything. I just want to move to my final place, get my last job, and meet the right person. I'm willing to be patient, wait for these things to happen, and know they're coming. I have to practice gratitude, patience, self-care, and nurture my friendships, which have been lifelines through this whole thing. So, yeah, it's everything has changed, but it's going to be maybe even better. You never know, right?
Absolutely. And we got you 100%. And also, your friends are freaking amazing.
They really are.
All right, guys, I love you. Do come tomorrow. I love a lot of you have been here like almost every single day. We are going to end up by the end of the week. It's going to be more light. We're going to pour some more lightness in, like on Thursday for sure. Tomorrow is something I can't. It's going to be balanced. It's not going to be doom and gloom the whole entire time. It is a hard week. So on Thursday, it's going to be more of a light thing. I'm going to put in there. Hang tight. At the end of the week, Friday, it's going to be amazing. I love you guys. If you can, show up. If you can't, keep us on thing. If you guys are part of the VIP, take advantage of it. We on this on the Facebook if you can, if you want to be. We're here for you all together. And thank you for being here. All right. See you tomorrow, guys. Okay. Bye, everybody. Thank you for being here. Thanks, Emily. Thanks, Sylvia. Thanks.